So tell us. So you grew up in Pennsylvania, like so you wanted to play basketball?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pennsylvania. I was a miserable kid. I mean, I was pretty like self-loathing. You know, I just didn't. I just I had a hard time. I think no matter how well I did, like athletically, I did pretty well athletically. I wasn't extraordinarily athletic, but I worked really hard, so I did pretty well athletically. I did well academically. But I was like really unhappy kid, just
this
really.
Is so interesting. I'm already blown away because you're a happiness coach.
But isn't that the way it works? I mean, I think about you,
right.
and I remember you saying something like, everybody looks at you and sees you now. You're so accomplished and you're so beautiful and you're so brilliant, honestly. And I know that I remember talking to you once at the studio, and you said, that you don't always feel that way. You didn't always feel, so that was my experience. I didn't, feel that way, and I wanted to play basketball and be a professional basketball player more than I wanted to breathe, literally. So I would all day, every day, just practice and watch all the other players, like professional ones, and try to copy all their moves. And, my senior year, I got pneumonia. So I couldn't I had a couple of, I had one small D2 offer, and, so it didn't work out. I ended up going just to college. I didn't really play basketball for, a semester. But yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Like,
wow. So then you went to school, and I read somewhere that like you got an interesting, what was it called? Let me see. I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, applied positive psychology. Oh, yeah. It's like a rare degree, right?
Yeah, it's really, so it's funny. Okay. Cause I don't know about you, but after basketball failed, I was like, what am I going to do with my life kind of thing? And, I was really like already seriously depressed, and I got to a place where I was deeply, deeply suicidal. I was experiencing like suicidal all the time. I literally thought about killing myself. I'd say, dozens of times a day. I mean, it was the predominant thought. It's all I thought about. It's really all I kind of wanted to do that I ever thought would end my problems. The strange thing is I didn't have a bad life. I had a happy or healthy family. My mom, my brother, sister, dad. I did great in school. I had a great job at the time.
But what do you think it was? Because I feel like a lot of people, I feel like there's two different types of depression, and maybe I'm wrong, but like, there's something that like is because of your experience or what you're going through. Like right now, people might be depressed because they lost their job or they have no money, or, so it makes sense. And then there's like, everything's going great in my life, but maybe there's like a chemical imbalance that's just making me, I can't get over it.
I love you saying that, because I was convinced I had a chemical imbalance. That's precisely what I thought the problem was. I thought I was just wired wrong. Like my wires were just crossed. And I had a real problem that could only be solved with antidepressants and anti-anxieties and maybe even antipsychotics. But I never took that path, mostly because I was concerned that I would get laid off from the job that I had at the time, in a consulting job. And I was also just concerned about the stigma around, mental illness and all that stuff. And so I never took that path. That being said, I can say, and for all those people who are or might be considering or beyond antidepressants, anti-anxieties, I love pharmacology. I think pharmacological science and drugs are extraordinarily helpful. They can be a great bridge. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I am so deeply grateful that I didn't go that route, because I learned basic coping skills that I would have never learned otherwise. For me, the major problem I discovered later was just that I thought too much. I mean, that it sounds like so paltry to say that. At the end of the day, it was just too much thinking. But it was. I mostly thought about all the things that we work so hard to accomplish. I wanted to be, author like you. I wanted to, maybe start my own company. I wanted to do all these things. And you start to accomplish some of those things, and then you realize they don't bring you the happiness that you want. And you start seeing through the facade that is the world. And you're like, what's going on? Why am I not happy the way other people seem happy who've accomplished similar things, or maybe not even quite as much? And so it took me a long time. In the midst of all that, I sort of had committed to committing suicide. I remember like researching all the ways I was going to do it, and realized.
How old were you when this was going on?
Probably like, it was from like, I would say, I remember being depressed from like 6 or 7, quite frankly.
Wow.
Literally. I can remember being depressed as long as I can remember being alive.
I feel like just like intuitively, because like obviously I know you. For like those of you guys that don't know, like I know Rob in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I've been interviewing some people that I've never met.
Yeah.
But you have such an angelic presence about you. And just intuitively, I just feel like you're just like an angel, and you're so sensitive. And maybe you've been, because I've experienced a little bit of like empathy in my life, where I've been around a lot of negative people, and I tend to absorb it and take it on. And I feel like you probably have done that, like where you kind of take on everyone's other shit and try and deal with it. And here you are, this like little 6-year-old boy taking on everyone's stuff. Like, of course you're going to be depressed, you know?
Jesse, I appreciate you saying that so much. That is honestly the highest compliment coming from someone like yourself. I mean, really, I really mean that. And you nailed it. I was an empath like you. And I didn't know the ways in which I was absorbing and feeling everybody else's thoughts and feelings. The way I was wired. And over time, I came to realize, no, that Rob, part of it's you, yeah, because you're thinking a lot and you're worrying a lot and you're not loving yourself and all these other things. But a lot of it is just that you're entering rooms or entering buildings or entering spaces where people are deeply unhappy or very stressed out or very worried or very sad. And you're picking up on all of that, you know? And so it's an incredible blessing, but it's also an incredible challenge and almost a curse. I wouldn't call it a curse, but a challenge.
Yeah, if you don't know how to deal with it, because I kind of went through the same thing, and I started figuring all of that out when I got sick with rheumatoid arthritis. I was like, you go to the first things, you're like, my diet, my surroundings, you start picking everything apart. And I'm like, wait a second, I've had all these like toxic people around me my entire life. So that was like a big part of my healing, and continues to be. But like, what are the steps that you did to get to where you are now? And how do you continue to keep that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I probably took a lot of the steps that you took. I mean, in the beginning, I think the first real glimpse that you get of another option or another alternative besides being miserable often comes unwittingly, unknowingly, even unintentionally. Like I had actually decided I was going to research how to kill myself. I went to the kitchen, I got a kitchen knife, I rammed it and stuck it into my wrist. I still have the suicide test marks there.
Wow.
And in that moment of really, I wanted to see how painful it was going to be, because as much as you want to commit suicide, the point is to end the pain, not to create more pain. But as I did that, for no good reason, I felt peace, and I felt like an inexplicable, like bliss and love that I had never felt before.
Wow.
Right. So in that moment, I just decided, well, this is really strange. I feel better despite nothing on the outside changing. So maybe I'll just put off the suicide for like an hour. That was all I committed to. It was like literally like an hour. Even that was too much. I wasn't even in my head fully committed to an hour. But I thought I'll just do a little research and see if there are people out there. Maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe I'm, maybe there are other options. So I started researching, and that hour bled into like a day, into several days, into several weeks, and now several decades later. But the first thing I did was research. I drowned myself in everything and anything I could find or read or listen to that showed me a different way, particularly happiness around peace. And I started applying as much of it as I could. And I started tracking it. The stuff that worked, I would keep in a little journal. The stuff that didn't work, I would just forget about. And then inch by inch over time, I just sort of dug myself out of this hole. One day I eventually sort of was feeling a lot better. And no surprise there, I found this program at Penn, the Masters of Applied Positive Psychology program, which is it's an Ivy League degree that's focused on the science of happiness. Like what makes people happy? What doesn't make people happy? What makes people successful? What doesn't make them successful? So I entered that program and whatnot. But, for me, really the first part, the most important piece was like reaching out and getting help. And it didn't have to be live help. It could be, virtual help. It could be YouTube or books or.
That's really tough. That's easier said than done, especially like when you're so vulnerable and already committed to like doing something and you've kind of given up. Like, I don't want to ask for help. I just want to like get, so that in itself, I think is such a tough thing to do when you're in that state.
Yeah. I feel like that was a theme for you. I mean, I know that you're.
Oh yeah. Asking for help is still my biggest lesson. Like my ego gets like, I don't need anybody, like I'm so over myself sometimes when I go back to that old self, which I think a lot of people, are wired to be. You
Yes.
know, like, I don't need anybody, I got this, and da da da. And it's like, get over it. You know, we all we all need help at some point. We all need each other. And especially right now, you know, I think we're really seeing how connected we all are.
Yeah.
And how we choose to take care of ourselves right now affects one another.
You nailed
And the
it.
choices that we're making affects one another. And just to go back to like what you were saying, I think it's so important for people to understand that happiness isn't something that is going to come from external.
Yeah.
And somewhere where this really connected for me was I've had the privilege of teaching a lot of billionaire clients through yoga, literally billionaire, most successful people in the world. And I'm always shocked at how unbalanced their life is. They are the epitome of success. They have all the things, their houses are insane, but there's something missing. And that's why they hire me. Because at first I'm like, why are they hiring me? Like, what am I gonna? But like yoga is a great example because it's such a great tool to bring you to the present moment, to give you that peace, that gratitude, that inner, like just bring you back into your body, where I think that's where all of it matters. Like finding that true happiness that's not going to change or sway based on outside occurrences, right?
Beautiful. I mean, exactly. I mean, that's really all I'm interested in teaching is really unconditional happiness, the happiness that transcends, that pervades, that persists through all places, spaces, and time, right? That is always available within you as this infinite pool or reservoir. There's this infinite bank, essentially, of happiness and peace and love that exists within inside all of us, that exists as all of us. And we find ourselves accessing that happiness effortlessly and easily through yoga, through meditation, when your mind is quiet and you're just deeply enjoying yourself or enjoying the moment without thinking a whole lot. It's amazing how much peace and bliss and happiness is there already. And it's interesting how hard we make this happiness thing. I mean, I'd say most of my life, I routed happiness through, you know, beautiful things and beautiful people and through, you know, nice cars and through money. And we all love all those things. And we're all open to receiving all of those things. And it's not a problem until you start to pin your happiness to things, to people, and to places. And then you're unhappy when you don't have that thing.
Yes.
Right? Or you're afraid of losing those things. And so, you know, there's a happiness that requires less effort. That's a lot more enjoyable and peacefully alive than the happiness that most of us know as pleasure or as entertainment or as distraction.
Yes. So how can people start to get there? I mean, I think right now is such a great time for people to start like new rituals. Like I've been doing all this stuff that I've been wanting to do. I don't know, just like little things. But how do people start getting there? I'm sure a lot of people are having a really hard time right now. And in that thought process, that negative thought process, like I call it the monkey brain, like you're just like on this loop of like everything sucks train. Yeah. How do you get out of that? Are there any like little tools that you can give as takeaways?
Yes. I love that you call it the monkey brain. I call it the inner crackhead.
The inner
crackhead. Always wants to fix. You know, so it's like, you know, I would say, and this has taken me 20 years, right? And so it's going to sound so simple, but I promise it's the most powerful and profound tool I've ever discovered, which is simply a micro meditation, okay? A micro meditation is one breath that you take with the simple and solitary goal of enjoying that breath without letting thoughts get in the way. And of course, most of us, because most of us are pretty ambitious, even when we think we're not, and we're all focused on achievement instead of enjoyment, we try to get good at that one breath, and, you know, and we don't therefore get good at it. So the way
we're like judging ourselves already.
Exactly. So the challenging opportunity is to enjoy everything you're doing more by thinking less and feeling more, by thinking less and enjoying more.
Thinking less and feeling more. I love that.
Yeah. So it's like if you're Swiffering, if you're doing the dishes, if you're doing the laundry, you know, it can be even the most frustrating or annoying chore or activity. If you can let your thoughts go and not spend so much time living in your head, but live more from the heart and live even more in your body, you'll find that the dishes aren't so painful. In fact, they're quite enjoyable. The water feels, you know, absolutely incredible. It's delicious. Or Swiftering, or doing the laundry. Like, these are activities that we genuinely think of as nuisances, but and as obstacles to happiness. But honestly, if you just stopped thinking so much and started enjoying what you were doing more by making each of those activities an end in of itself, suddenly those activities have an aliveness and a joyfulness and a blissfulness that sort of bubble up out of that activity without the effort and the energy that you're used to committing to making that happen. So I just think micro meditations are one of the best things you can ever do. Like,
I love that word, by the way. And I think it's very digestible, because the word meditation, people are like, ugh,
yeah.
Micro meditation.
Yeah.
I can do that. You know, yeah. For people that don't have a regular practice, I think it's just like, ugh. But a micro meditation, a one breath to bring you back into the present moment. And I completely agree with like these little rituals. I made an agreement with myself a while ago, and it happened out of juicing. I noticed that I was getting up and I was dreading having to wash all my vegetables to make my juice. Yeah. And I noticed that I was like in a bad mood every morning. And prior to that, like when I was just drinking coffee in the morning, I was like, getting my coffee. Like, coffee didn't bother me like it did doing the vegetables, because it's a lot of work. And I was like, you know what, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm committed to juicing, so I have to switch my mind on it. So I, just like you said, I kind of just put a play on it, and I turned it into like a mindful practice. And I washed every vegetable really good, and I put some music on, and I just turned it into like, I just brought mindfulness into it and made it like a happier ritual. And now I don't dread doing it. I've totally switched the game on that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. I love that you flipped it up like that and switched it up like that, because that was my discovery too. Like, you know, I remember the guy that ran the mile the fastest, the first guy that broke the mile and ran it in 4 minutes. Roger Bannister, this guy. And they asked him what was the secret to like running the mile so fast, or running so fast, because everybody thought that if you ran a mile in faster than 4 minutes, you were going to die. Like, they used to have ambulances outside, police cars, and all this stuff.
You're going to die.
Right? Yeah, they're like, you're literally going to die, so don't even try it. But he did, and he was the first person to do it. And then after that, of course, a whole bunch of other people did it. But they said, what's the secret to running fast? And he said, the secret to running fast is to relax. Relax.
Wow.
Right? Which is a hard thing to kind of understand, because you're thinking, you know, when you're running fast, you seem to be all, you know, sort of tense and your muscles are flexed. But the truth is, just like in yoga, so much of it is relaxing and resting into the pose, or relaxing and resting into the self, that deep, sort of peaceful, alive place inside that's perfectly peaceful. And that means mostly resting your mind. If you can rest your mind while you do whatever you do, you'd be surprised. You can go faster, and you can get things done even better, and you can be more efficient, effective, and efficacious at everything. So I found that to be helpful. I love what you said, though, Jesse, so much, because there's a word I love, which is blisscipline. Like, I think I used to be very disciplined, but I've committed to being very blissciplined, which means that if I can't have fun doing it, or I can't make it fun, I try not to do it. And I found a more enjoyable way and have a lot more fun doing it, just if you add music, if you slow down,
Yes.
if you stop thinking so much. I mean, it's incredible, the pain and the frustration and the obstacles and the hurdles that we put in our own way. Like, just, it makes life very difficult and very complicated. But life is actually very simple, I think, when you just stop thinking so much about it.
I think I love that. I mean, I completely agree. And I just had this thought, there's my dog, that I'm going to put on the Chicago Bulls anthem music in the morning.
Oh my God. You
cannot be in a bad mood listening to that. Like, that gets your life going right there.
It's so funny you say that, because, you know, I used to go to the gym, which has been one of the hardest things for me now, is like working out at home.
Yeah.
I feel like it does take you back to being like, well, for me, to being like 10 or 11, when I couldn't afford the gym. And I would do like, I'd get my brother on my
interesting.
Back, right? Yeah. And I'd put him on my back, and we'd do squats, and then I'd get on his back and he'd do squats.
I know the stuff my boyfriend's making up in the backyard. Like, every time I go out there, he's like lifting boulders. He's got like straps like wrapped around the hose. He's like trying to figure out, how can I work out here? So I know what you're talking about.
It's working out for him, because I see him, he's brawling. Your boyfriend is brawling, man. I love that guy. I mean, and it's funny because you know, before that, I was going to the gym, and at 5 a.m., we'd go to the gym, and most people think, oh my gosh, 5 a.m., the gym, that means you get up at 3:30 or
Well,
whatever.
because you were shooting every day. You were in the
Yes.
studio every day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I get up, you know, early so I can make it to the gym. And one of the things that would help so much is like listening. I literally have that song, that Chicago Bulls warm-up song, on my playlist. It's the first song, and all of a sudden you get right into the zone.
I get goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I'm such a dork.
It takes one to know one, because I'm a dork too. I mean, that stuff gets me. And it's funny because so much of life is like that, right? Like you find this one little tiny key that happens to be a master key, and it opens so many other locks. So maybe it's just a Chicago Bulls warm-up song or whatever, or introduction song, but all of a sudden you realize that there's a principle there that you apply to every other area of your life, and it can completely change and transform the way you approach everything in your life, or every relationship in your life, just, you know, introducing more fun.
I love what you said in the beginning, that you started writing things down that worked for you.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in writing. I just started, and I'm not a great writer, honestly. Like my handwriting's illegible. So I even just talk into my phone sometimes and do voice memos. But I think it's so great to like whoever's listening right now, write down these little tools that Rob gave you, because when you are having a hard time, how great is it to go into your little toolbox and be able to come back to this moment, come back to the present moment, and be like, oh, I can do my micro meditation. I could put on some music. I can, you know, and have these little things to go back to, because that's when the practice happens, when we don't want to do it.
Oh my gosh, you just nailed it. Like there's a quote, I'm not going to get it right, but it sounds something like, you know, prayer is really learned in those times and places and spaces when prayer feels impossible, right? But the same idea is here, is that you really learn discipline, let's say, or we can call it discipline, but you really learn your own strength and resilience and this incredible infinite pool of just power and presence that exists within you, that exists as you, when you are forced to push through something that you think is impossible to push through. Right.
Yes.
And you do that, you accomplish something, and you sort of are never the same as a result of that. And so I think that's part of the challenge and opportunity, like at hand for all of us right now, is that, look, you know, we don't want to be facing a pandemic. Nobody wants to be facing or worried about an economic fallout. We don't want to worry about losing our jobs or worry about losing our loved ones. And that being said, it's all grist for the mill. It's all something that we can use as fuel and and to feed whatever it is we're trying to accomplish in the world, whether it's unconditional happiness, unconditional peace, unconditional love, unconditional success, true health, wealth, and abundance. Like, it's all salvageable, right? And that's another reason, by the way, I love Scottie Pippen and I love Michael Jordan, because if you notice, that's all they did.
Poor Scottie. I'm like, I didn't remember all of that. And I'm like, maybe that's why I loved him, because he was like so mistreated.
Yeah.
I was getting fired up last night. I was like, I honestly feel like it's good and bad. I feel like if he would have been on another team, he would have been the Michael Jordan of that team.
For sure. And
you know what I mean?
sure.
Like he just didn't get to be the star, and he got so jacked because Michael was just so good.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think, you know, the other thing about Scottie, and you heard him say it there early, was, you know, I mean, look, he's, I think, I'm not sure exactly what city you're from. Are you from a small town?
From Chicago. Well, I'm from the outside of Chicago. Yeah.
Me too. So I'm outside of Pittsburgh. And so, you know, he said he had like, how many, like 12 or
12
like
siblings.
12 siblings. So he was very much concerned with getting them taken care of. And he was afraid, like so many of us, that if you pass on something, you try to negotiate. And I think lots of us have issues with that. And although lots, you know, particularly this day and age is a good time to really sort of level up in that way.
Self-worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just took whatever was given without really negotiating for it. And he ended up being, what, 122nd in terms of pay, when he was really the second best player. I was like,
what? You know what made me mad is that I feel like as a team, I would have rallied behind him.
Yeah.
Michael got me a little mad.
I can understand that.
I was like, y'all should have rallied and been like, obviously we're not playing as good without Scottie. Totally. Like, we need him. Like, we should balance it out a little bit. But
I agree with you about that. I know I did feel a little something that way too, because it felt, you know, for me, I always felt like Jordan and Pippen were like brothers.
Yeah.
You know, like if my brother's in that position, I'm like, oh, you know, but I have, I don't know all the details there and the complexity, but I do love the idea that I think I saw, I guess Scotty's ex-wife posted something about how much he made over the course of his career. And it was, you know, it was a large sum of money. So he did okay.
Good.
Yeah, it was like over 100 million. So he's okay.
So getting back to you, I want to ask you, with quarantine, like how are you doing with everything? Because you are used to going to the gym, you're used to shooting your show every morning.
Yeah.
Like what like how is it going?
Yeah, it's I'll be honest, and I say this with humility and grace. I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, honestly, it's been awesome. Like, I'm kind of by nature an introvert anyway. Okay, like
Me too.
Are you? See,
I'm thriving.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we're the people that have to check on our extroverted friends, right?
Yeah.
And like, I genuinely love it. I grew up always loving my solitude. That's when I practiced basketball. That's when I read my books. That's, you know, and always to this day, I'm always, you know, I love people. I love people. And I love my aloneness so much. And I have been putting off these books that I wrote years ago, and I finally get to editing them. And I feel like I'm on a high because every single day I'm committed to doing the thing that I feel means the most to me and that brings to me the most joy, which is working on these books. So it's just like, it's been great.
Exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I do miss the gym. Don't get me wrong. And I would love to be having this conversation in person and things like that. But, you know, I don't have any complaints. What about you? How are you feeling?
I'm really embracing it, and I'm loving being with my family, and we're cooking and we're more connected, and I am still getting my alone time. And yeah, so I'm really enjoying it.
That's amazing because the one thing I have noticed, I don't know about you, but a little uptick, you know, people are saying, oh, how's business and this and that. I'm like, well, it's shifted a lot, you know, and but a lot of couples, I get a lot of phone calls from couples and parents now more than ever. Before, it was some couples and some parents, but lots of executives and lots of athletes. But those folks are mostly doing okay. But now the issue for most folks is that now I'm trapped in a house with a husband or a wife or kids that are driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
well, I know. I feel really lucky there. Like, I have some girlfriends that have toddlers. That's a different story. Like, my son's going to be 16 in a couple of weeks. Oh. So he's like doing the Zoom school by himself. He's self-efficient. He helps out cleaning the house. Like, I don't have to entertain him like a toddler.
Yeah.
Or how some of these parents are literally having to homeschool. Like, that's a whole nother, whole nother thing. Like,
totally. I know. Yeah. I think about my sister's doing that now. She's homeschooling her little one. She got two little ones, but the one is of school age. And, you know, I think she's sort of found her rhythm there. But I can't imagine. I mean, quite frankly, it's enough for me to take care of me.
I know.
You know, to homeschool myself, that's a lot. So I'm always so inspired by like parents and just the folks that are like doing it all. I mean, between the sort of health workers and medical professionals, but the parents and particularly the moms, but everyone I think, you know, is getting the opportunity to sort of like do things maybe they didn't get a chance to do before. Some of us are doing too many of those things, I'm sure, and probably feel overwhelmed. But yeah, I'm so inspired. I gotta say, you have like one of the most beautiful families. Like, I mean, your son, I need that. Every time I see the pictures and the videos, I'm like, my gosh, this feels like a family that genuinely, deeply, truly loves each other and has a ton of fun together.
Aw, we do. Right now, we're all practicing the self-love and just like sending love and holding space for people, especially the ones that need it the most.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Totally. I love you saying that. Very much same deal with me. Like, some people are just easier to love from a distance. And that's something we do for ourselves. It's not something we have to even think about doing for them. Like, when I love someone or I feel or express love towards someone, I experience the benefits first. And I'm guaranteed to experience the benefits. Maybe they'll receive the benefits or not. They may not be open to receiving it. But I love people because it feels good to me. Like, I love people because I love me. Right. And it's interesting because, you know, in this day and age, you watch the news, which I don't do at all, really. And or you read the news or you notice how people are thinking and feeling. You notice we often are convinced that this pandemic and this virus is the biggest, most contagious thing on the planet. But really, it's emotion. Emotion is way more contagious than anything else on the planet is. And we know that based on science, that just through a phone call, just through a text or an email, people can feel the emotion coming through the screen or through the phone. And so it's just critical, especially now, for those of us who want to be happy, who like being happy, to do everything we can to commit to being happy, because that happiness shared is love. I mean, that is love.
And I feel like it just grows. It's just, that's our job. I mean, I feel like that's my job right now, especially right now, is to keep the vibrations high. I feel good right now. My family's healthy. I'm healthy. So I feel it my duty to just kind of keep everything uplifted. And then, you know, hopefully if I need you guys to do that for me, or like not you, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's our job right now, is to just kind of keep everything on a positive side.
I love you saying that. And that's exactly the way I feel too. I'm like, look, I didn't go through the things that I went through. You didn't go through the things you went through, to now not stand firm as peace and as happiness and as love, and to be strong. Like, you know, it's like a soldier. Like, now's the time to duck down. It's time to be a soldier. It's not a time to, you know, go into the fetal position and cry it out. At least not for me. For lots of folks, that's exactly what they need to be doing, but not for me. I've been through situations and I feel like I faced death in a very serious, sincere way. And so now my job is just to be I want to be as much light as humanly possible. And I'm not going to insert myself into people's lives, but if they're interested in taking part or participating in that light, then I'm all open for that, you know. But I love that you do that. I mean, honestly, since the very first day that I ever met you, you just emanate this light, and it's full of love. And I mean that. You really do. And you do it.
It takes one to know one, Rob.
And it also takes not being that for so much in our lives to know that too, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
This was so great. I loved chatting with you and connecting with you. I've actually been more social since quarantine.
That's true, actually. This is probably the longest conversation we've had ever. Well, not really, but close to it probably. And it comes in quarantine. You're right.
I love it.
It's easier to, I think, be social when you're getting your batteries recharged, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank you so much, Rob. And just, if anybody's watching, obviously this is going to be up for 24 hours, but then it'll be on EverTalk if you guys want to watch it again. Take some notes, put it in your little journal so you have a toolbox to go back to when you're not feeling so happy.
Yes. That's right. I love it. So appreciate you.